All right. All right, so just want to say welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for our October Arizona Indian Education Association General Meeting. Just as a heads up, we meet every third Friday, unless otherwise noted. One note that we'll talk at the end of the slides for the agenda today is that our November meeting will actually be held on the fourth Friday next month. Just due to some schedule conflicts, we're moving that meeting to the fourth Friday. So it will be November 22nd. So please mark your calendars for that date to be updated on that. If you'll just give us just a few more minutes, if you have patience with us, I would like to open up our meeting with our land acknowledgement. So let me okay. Beneath the contemporary surface of any site in the United States, there are histories of belonging that have been erased, overlooked, contested, and forgotten, all ways to support ideas like manifest destiny, which justified the conquest of native lands. Between 1776 and 1887, the United States seized over 1.5 billion acres from America's indigenous people by treaty and executive order. There are currently 574 sovereign tribal nations, variously called tribes, nations, bands, pueblos, communities, and native villages that have a formal nation-to-nation relationship with the U.S. government. There are 334 federally and state-recognized American Indian reservations in 2010. These 574 tribal nations are located across 35 states and within the geographic borders of the United States. Even within the U.S. borders, each tribal nation exercises its own sovereignty. Each of the 574 tribal governments is legally defined as a federally recognized tribal nation. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment in time. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant home in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. Today, we acknowledge the ancestral lands of the Acamel Otham and the Peepash people upon which our AIEA headquarters stands. I also acknowledge the homelands of the Tana Otham and the Waimea people upon which I currently am. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that brings us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events. So I just want to say again, thank you for allowing us those few minutes to share our land acknowledgement on behalf of our association. And as we mentioned, we encourage you to do the same at all of and any of your public events. So Nawa Kwahat Hato Toya Goigu Masik Chawi and Dal Kimberly Denkabige Alkan. My name is Kimberly Denkabige. I am of the Kiowa, Caddo, and Pawnee Nations, originally from Oklahoma, currently residing in Tucson, Arizona. My day job is I'm the coordinator for the Native American Education Program with the Amphitheater Public Schools, and I currently sit as the president for the AIEA. We are going to go ahead and allow a few introductions, but first we'll start with our executive board members who are on the call with us, and then I'll call out each of those who are on my list as I see them. So we'll start with our treasurer, Sheila.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad to see everyone that was able to make it today. I'm Sheila Cypress, and I'm the current AIEA treasurer. And I'm also, like Kimberly says during the day, I think we got like so many hats, we don't even know what we do anymore. But for myself, I'm the Scottsdale Unified School District Native American Program Coordinator, and I also help collaborate with the 21st Century Coordinator as well to help him manage his budgets and so forth. And as we are also, Kimberly and I also sit on as Indigenous committee members for the after schools programs as well. So we're pretty busy. So, and I know Kim's, I just want to put a little shout out there. I am so proud of you, Kim, that you were, you got your new position as well. You're going to be very, very busy. So I think we all should send Kim a calendar for Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Travis.
Good morning, everybody. So glad to see some familiar faces and thanks for joining our meeting. My name is Travis. I serve as secretary for the Arizona Indian Education Association, and I also wear several hats, but I'll just leave it at that for now. But it's really great to see you all.
Awesome. Thank you, executives. Much appreciation for your introductions. Okay, I will now go down the list as I see it on my screen. We will start with Margaret.
Good morning. This is Margaret Blaine. I'm with Ampi Middle School. I'm sorry, Ampi Public District, and I'm a tutor advisor.
For those that may not know, Margaret is actually my coworker, so appreciate her joining our meetings every month. Thank you, Margaret. Next, we have Antoinette.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Okay, yes, I'm Antoinette Shirley. I work at the Chandler Unified School District. I am also the, I'm like a coordinator here for the Native American programs, but my actual title is Indigenous Student Engagement Specialist. Thank you. Good morning. Happy Friday.
Awesome. Thank you, Antoinette. Great to see you. Next, we have Bethany.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Bethany Allison, and I am the newest member to the Office of Indian Education with ADE. I'm on day 10, just finishing up my second week here, and I'm very excited to join and get to know the program here a little bit more. Good morning. Happy Friday.
Awesome. Welcome, Bethany. We look forward to working with you. Thank you for joining us today. Next on my list, I see Brandon.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brandon Clark. I'm the Tribal Grant Specialist for the Office of Indian Education. I currently oversee our JOM program for the state, as well as our dual enrollment program with our tribal colleges and universities. As well, I as well oversee tribal consultation with our LEAs throughout the state. So, thank you for inviting me to this meeting, and happy Friday.
Thank you for joining us, Brandon. All right, next is Brooke.
Good morning, everyone. Hello, my name is Brooke Curley here. I am currently at Arizona State University as the education policies special. No, what is my role? Education research analyst. I am actually serving in a joint position between the American Indian Policy Institute and the Center for Indian Education. Thank you for inviting me today, Kimberly.
Thank you for joining us, Brooke. It's good to see you again. It's good to see you. All right, next we have Helen.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all. I know I got to connect with some of you in person last week in Palm Springs. My name is Helen Thomas. I currently serve as the Professional Learning Manager for the National Indian Education Association, but I'm also here thanks to Kimberly sending an invitation to become more involved with AIEA. So it's great to see everyone. Thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you, Helen. It's really good to see some familiar faces come back, and it's really great to have you here. So thank you for joining us. All right, next we have the Tana Atham High School kids. They did put in the chat that we do have their student group. So there is the Student Tribal Council. We have the Secretary, Annabelle, and we have a member, Genesis, that was on with us, and they have other members that are also joining them. So I don't know if either of you would like to give a quick introduction. Feel free to do so.
Hi, I'm Genesis. I'm from the Tanatam High School, and I'm part of the Tribal Student Council.
Awesome. Thank you, Genesis. I didn't know if anyone else was going to introduce, but thank you guys for joining us. It's always wonderful to have a student voice with our association. So thank you for being here with our meeting this month. And finally, we have Joaquin.
Ayate bene tutsuni nishne ke kai but seen cliziclone defike to the fini de finale dakelen Joaquin Preston unit. My name is Joaquin Preston. I am the Tribal State Policy Director for the National Indian Education Association. Here to give updates. Not a whole lot going on because it is a election year, but later on you'll hear from AIEA what's going on nationally and a little bit on the state side, very little bit on the state side.
Awesome. Always a pleasure to have you joining us, Joaquin. You provide excellent updates to keep us informed. So thank you for joining us this month. All right, so we're just going to go over a quick overview of what is coming up for the agenda today. As you will see, we did our welcome, our land acknowledgement, our introductions. We will be going into approval of our minutes. We'll go into the president's report. We'll have a treasurer's report. We always provide time for Indian education updates on a national and state level. Then we have this meeting is actually our election meeting. And so we'll share more information about what we're going to be doing when we get to that time. But we're going to have our election affirmations for this coming year. Then we'll go into our old business. We do have a few committee meeting updates. Then we have any new business. And then we always provide time as well for program share outs. We love to hear the fabulous work that you're doing. And if there's any events that are coming up, please let us know. We hope to be able to attend. And then we'll finally adjourn for our meeting today. So that's a quick overview of what will be happening today. Just as a reminder, as I mentioned earlier, our next meeting will be on Friday, November 22nd, which will be the fourth Friday next month. I know there's a lot going on because it is acknowledged as the National Native American Heritage Month. So if there's any events that you know of, please feel free to send those to us. We'll get that information out to our membership. And this next meeting, at least through December, will be virtual. So please mark your calendars for the dates. It'll be November 22nd. It'll be a virtual meeting as well as our December meeting. Then we'll decide on whether or not we'll go back to in-person. We'll try it again. Usually we have a hybrid meeting for those that are not able to make it in person. So next on the agenda, we have the approval of the minutes. Travis did share the meeting minutes in the chat earlier. Travis, if you don't mind just resharing for those that may have joined late so that they can see those meeting minutes. And I will turn this time over to our secretary, Travis.
Okay, the last meeting we had was back in September 20th. Very glad that we've caught up on the minutes that we've been kind of lagging over the last year, but happy that we've been able to keep up on those. Not a lot of too much to share as far as what we discussed or action items. But if you just want to move, review the minutes, if there's any corrections, please let me know. And just calling on a motion to approve the minutes. Again, calling on a motion for someone to approve the minutes.
As I was reading through all the meeting minutes. So there is a request from the membership to approve our meeting minutes from our September general meeting, which was held on September 20th. So I'd like to call for a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I'll motion to approve the September 20th minutes.
Thank you, Sheila. Motion on the floor. Is there a second? Is there a second for the motion?
Say it loud. We got a second coming. Hang on a second. Just say, I second the motion.
I second the motion.
Awesome. All right, can I have your name for who seconded?
Genesis.
Genesis. Thank you, Genesis. Appreciate that. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, like sign. All those who abstain, like sign. Not seeing any, motion has passed. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate your time and getting that taken care of. Next is our president's report. I have just a limited amount to share with you. I've been on travel the past couple of weeks and just returned this past Tuesday, so I'm not really very prepared, but I did want to share a few updates with the membership here. So first and foremost, I always encourage our Arizona Johnson O'Malley Quarterly Forum. This is hosted by the Region 1. The next meeting will be next week, October 24th via Zoom. The purpose of this is a forum for all JOM contractors in Arizona to unite and discuss any challenges with JOM, gain guidance, and share best practices. Collectively, the forum is able to document support needs with JOMA and the Bureau of Indian Education. Again, the Bureau of Indian Education we've been fortunate that they've been attending every forum with the exception of at least 2 the past 3 years. It's unbelievable that we're in our 3rd year with this forum, but it's been a great success. We've had a lot of questions and BIE has answered to the best of their ability during those forums. If you have any questions or any concerns within the JOM funding or the program itself, please send those to us and we do address those at these forums. This forum provides an opportunity to collaborate in creating a united, consistent support structure for Arizona Indigenous students. Although the forum is geared towards the JOM contractors, all stakeholders in Indian education are welcome to attend. We really want to hear from parents. So if you know of any parents that are available to attend these forums, we highly encourage them to do so also. There is a quarterly schedule. As I mentioned, we do meet on a quarterly basis. We meet in January, April, July, and October. So again, our next meeting will be October 24th. We have several focus areas that we really highlight during each of the forums for any questions pertaining to those topics. So in January, the focus area was guidance and resources. In April, the focus area was funding uses. In July, which was our first in-person event that we had, was focused on the student count. And then the forum for next week will be focused on parent involvement. We have invited a few programs that work with the JOM programs. And so we have invited them to share out the work that they're doing and the advocacy that they're doing on behalf of their parents and students. So again, we encourage you to join us for that session. If you are interested in joining on those forums, I'll share the link here in a little while, which is housed under the Office of Indian Education there at the state office. There is a contact form that you complete, and once you complete that form, you will be on a listserv to where you'll receive the updates and materials for each presentation. Next, I just again wanted to mention that the National Johnson O'Malley Association Conference for 2025 will be September 8th through the 10th, 2025. It will be held in Denver, Colorado. Just as a reminder for that and to prepare for when the forms come out, we do ask that you submit nominations for the exemplary program of the year. So any of the programs that use JOM funds are welcome to be nominated within our region. So Region 1 covers the whole state of Arizona and the state of Colorado. So throughout those 2 states, we select one nomination, and they usually end up being the exemplary program of the year. We also have a teacher of the year. So if you know of any teachers that are out there, I think we're probably going to change that title to educator of the year, because there's so many persons out there that do work, amazing work day in and day out for our Native students. And so just a heads up, I think we're going to be changing and updating that to educator of the year. But these nominations forms will be sent out. When they are released, I will share with our membership so that way you can get your nominations in as well. There is also a space for scholarships. These scholarships are for high school students that are going to graduate this May. So May 2025 is who the scholarship will be for. There's actually 4 different scholarships, 2 different scholarships, and we give out 2 scholarships per category. So one is the Steve Pruitt Scholarship, and then the second one is Chief Old Earl Scholarship. But for each of those, we have 2 scholarships apiece. So they have an opportunity to get funding for their college adventures. And so we encourage you to let your students know of those happening. Conference information will be listed on the NJOMA website. Again, right now, there's nothing on there because we haven't confirmed anything just yet, but all the forms for those that I mentioned here, as well as the hotel and where it's going to be, will all be listed on the conference tab once you click on that website. But I will let you know when that becomes available, because right now all it has is 2025 September in Denver, Colorado. So I'll keep you updated as the information becomes available. Next, I just wanted to mention that last week was held the National Native American Language Summit. So on October 8th, the White House Initiative for Native Americans and Tribal Colleges and Universities, the Department of Education, and the National Indian Education Association convened the 11th Annual National Native Language Summit with the 2011 Native Language MOA signatories. This year's theme was Beyond the Decade, which inspiring a generation of Native language learners, which focused on encouraging a multi-generational approach for Native language learners of all ages to take part in a collective revitalization journey. The Native Language Summit was committed to empowering national discourse between tribal, state, federal, and local government agencies to collectively support and strengthen Native American language instruction across all American Indian, Alaska Native, and Native Hawaiian communities. And so I'll provide more information on a more detailed report whenever I give my report for my attendance with the NIEA conference. But I just wanted to mention that this is an event that they have started a few years back, but it's been an annual event ever since. And so it's encouraging Native language throughout your schooling and different programs that works with tribes as well as in public schools. Finally, I just wanted to mention that on a national level, the Interior invests in the health of the Colorado River system. So as you're well aware, in our area, we are in a desert, and so water is very scarce. But I did want to keep you updated that on September 25th, the Department of Interior had marked major progress for the short and long-term health of the Colorado River system. In Santa Fe, New Mexico, Bureau of Reclamation Commissioner Camille Kalilium Tuton joined local, state, federal, and tribal leaders to sign 5 water conservation agreements funded by President Biden's Investing in America agenda that will advance water conservation across the West in the face of historic drought. Short-term agreements with the Imperial Irrigation District, Bard Water District, and Metropolitan Water District are expected to conserve over 770,000 acre-feet of water by 2026. The agreements with the Gila River Indian community are the first long-term agreements to be signed and have the potential to create system conservation of over 73,000 acre-feet within the next 10 years. So I share this type of information because it affects our communities. As I mentioned, the water is very important, and where we view it as something sacred for a lot of our Indigenous communities. And so I just wanted to keep you updated. I did share in the chat if you want to read more about that, there is a link to that article from the Department of Interior. And that sums up what I wanted to share with you. So I would like to end that. Please visit the following for more information and for AIEA current event and activity updates. I shared that in the chat. We do have our email, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Our email address is listed there. We also have the social media with Facebook that we update. We try to keep that updated throughout our time. So we may miss a few, like I forgot to list the meeting for today, but we do try and keep that updated for any events or community events that may take place. This is also a space where we can share any event flyers that you may have, just to get the word out and to help spread what events you are having. We also have a YouTube channel. This channel houses all of our general meeting recordings. So this recording will also go up for our YouTube channel. In conclusion, AIEA continues to create safe spaces for our membership to be heard. We will also continue to work with allies and partners to make meaningful and measurable change within our organization and society as a whole, in keeping with our mission to provide research and resources to Arizona schools for American Indian students to achieve academic excellence through culturally responsive education. So again, I just want to say thank you for your time for all of those who are attending our AIEA general meeting. Are there any questions? All right, if there are none, we will go into our, oh, before we do, as I mentioned, I did attend the NIEA convention on behalf of AIEA, but I'm not prepared. I didn't get anything prepared for today, so I am requesting if we can table my NIEA report to next meeting, which will be held in November. So I would just like to call for a motion to table my report to the next meeting.
I'll motion to table the NIA report to next month's meeting in November.
Thank you, Sheila. Is there a second?
I, Brandon Clark, will second the motion.
Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. And I will have an updated report with some really nice pictures at our meeting in November. So thank you, membership. I appreciate that. So now we will go into our treasurer's report, and I will turn it over to our treasurer, Sheila.
Hopefully my phone won't keep going off while I'm doing this. Okay, this month's report is going to be a little tricky because we were dealing with some unexpected expenditures that came up. I want to start off that as of October 1st, we had a balance of $1,042.18 in our checking. And as you know, in the a couple months ago, we did agree to pay for Kimberly's NIEA expenses. And unfortunately, when she we were fine with everything, but then she was voted in and got the position of on NIEA board. They asked her to stay additional nights. So that bill actually was supposed to be paid partially from NIEA, but with the hotel, they kind of made some mistakes. So when the bill was processed through, it actually put us in the negative of $476 and brought us down to negative of $476.18. And as the committee board members yesterday, we met and we motioned to move $1,000 from checking into our, sorry, $1,000 from savings into checking to cover that the cost that we have there. So we are in the process of working with NIEA to get the amounts that they were supposed to cover that we ended up covering. So there's no hardships there. But I just want to let you know that right now, so with all those exchanges, our savings currently is $21,465.69. And our checking is back in the positive of $240.76. So we're fine. It's just that was just a little glitch, no fault of ours or NIEA. It was just hotels. I'm sure a lot of you understand when you're trying to pay from two different accounts, they don't exactly know how to do that very well. So, but we're good, and NIEA and I will be working with us to get that reimbursed. So next month's report should be a little bit higher.
Thank you, Sheila. Just one note on that. I am in touch with the interim director, Rusty Brown, and he did assure me that that would be taken care of. I think our executives had discussed if they could provide at least a refund for that amount for those 2 nights, extra nights that I did stay there in Palm Springs. So we are working with NIEA to get that corrected. So. All right, are there any other questions in regard to our treasurer's report? Or clarifications needed? All right, if there are none, thank you, Sheila. And we will go right into our Indian education updates. I don't see Linnea, but I do see her team on board, so I am going to turn it over to the ADE.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'll be speaking on behalf of the Office of Indian Education. We have a couple updates that we have for our office. Let's start with the first one. Our first one is that regarding the Indian Education Advisory Council, we are currently reorganizing the Indian Advisory Council. It'll be the first one that will take place on November 13th and 14th in person in Phoenix. The advisory council exists not only because it's required by the Arizona Revised Statute 15-244, but because we know that gathering the range of experts of indigenous education is vital. They will best inform how to improve the experience of Native American students throughout all of Arizona. Leaders of all 22 tribes are currently nominating a representative, and OIE has also carefully selected a list of experts within the community to help with this process. So this first convening will create the committee's expectations and guidelines for any future IEA activities. So we'll be presenting that information a lot more as the month closes for next month. So hope be looking out for here for that. The next one is our next update is our regarding our Indigenous Literacy Project updates. This past Monday on Indigenous Peoples Day, we held our third annual Indigenous Literacy Symposium last Monday. We would like to give thanks to our co-hosts of Arizona Humanities and Arizona Labriola for collaborating with us to make sure we had a great success. We also like to thank of our partners at NIEA, AIEA Academic Standards, and the Arizona State University Indian Policy and Education for their presentations and resources. At that literacy project, we also had 68 educators attend, with 7 professional learning sessions that were presented during that day. So it was, I feel it was a great success, and hopefully for next year, we'll have even more people attend our ILP. So I was going to give some updates on that. And then regarding our literacy project, we also have one more, a virtual Indigenous author panel that's coming up pretty soon. It's going to be on November 6th, and everyone is invited. I will put a link on this chat if you're interested. It's going to be on Tuesday, November 6th from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And it's going to be through Zoom. So I'll put the QR or the information if you want to follow along and participate in that day. So yeah, anyone's welcome to come and join us on that day. The last bit of information that we have for you for this for our update is that tentatively right now we have our save the date for OIE, the Stakeholder Summit of June 2025. So we'll as the months go by, we'll present more details of what that will entail. But we just want to put the word out there that our Stakeholder Summit is going to be on June 2025. And I believe that will be the updates that OIE has. Does anyone have any questions or anything that I can help answer?
Brandon, just as a I guess FYI for that, I did confirm with Linnea that for the Educator Stakeholder Summit, that AIEA will also collaborate with OIE on our Educators Awards celebration. And so we will be in the planning stages with that with OIE to host our celebration there during the summit also.
Okay, awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Does anyone have any other questions regarding with the information I presented? If not, I think that's all from OIE.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate your updates from the state. Always great work that you guys do. And we're always happy to collaborate with you on any of the events that are upcoming. So thank you for sharing that information. If there's no other questions, we will move on to our NIEA updates, and I will turn it over to Joaquin.
Thank you, Kim. Like I said, it's an election year, so things have been really slowed down, especially the last 2 months. The most recent kind of news that was coming out has been around the appropriations process. Some of you might know Congress passed a continuing resolution September 25th, signed September 30th, to continue to fund the federal government through December 20th. We have no idea what's going to actually happen with the budget for 2025 because a lot of this is going to be contingent on the results of the election, who wins. Even then, we don't know if the can will just get kicked down the road again with another continuing resolution, so that it will be the next Congress's who actually passes a appropriations bill. So it's kind of like wait and see. That will be Congress's main focus and priority when they return from recess on November 12th. So that really leaves any other business as very unlikely happening on especially items like the Truth and Healing Commission on Indian boarding schools. So we're expecting very little in the space of education in general, and even less in Native education. The only potential bills that could get passed are around student privacy and online safety, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPA 2.0, and Kids Online Safety Act. But even that is not a for sure thing. So very little happening. Again, election year. We'll see what happens. We actually, I will send out this NIEA's PDF update on the budget, so you kind of know that we're talking about the budget, what's in there currently, kind of what our outlook is for 2025. So on the state side, though, we did have a major victory. I was very busy with convention preparation, so I wasn't able to announce it. It'll be on our next advocate. But the California governor signed AB 1821, which is titled Pupil Instruction Course of Study, Social Sciences, Treatment of Native Americans, on September 27th, 2024. So bill was introduced by Assembly Member James Ramos. Quite a lot of the bills that are coming through California Native education come through Assembly Member Ramos, but it requires K through 12 instruction on the Spanish colonization of what is now California, and the California Gold Rush, with a particularly focusing on what the impacts on Native people were during those two events. So those are the policy updates. But in terms of what happened at convention, of course, we all heard Kim is now on our Western Region board member for NIEA and our parliamentarian. So in terms of the resolutions, the work that the membership got done, there were 3 resolutions that were passed. One on tribal education parity with LEAs and SEAs. I do not have the final text on these. Our federal policy director, who was leading the charge on these, is out of the office, and I don't want to bother them while they're recovering from convention. So I will get those to you, Kim, as soon as possible, to be sent out for the AIEA membership. And then another resolution on supporting state tribal compacting. Again, don't have the final text on that, but pretty straightforward on what that resolution is about. And then we had an emergency resolution passed. I do not have the title on this one, but it was concerning support for amendments to ESEA for the restoration of parent committee oversight over funding. So I will get those to you, more information to come, but that was the work that the membership got done during convention. So yep, that's it. That's it for my updates. And I do have to jump off. I have some appointments this afternoon.
Awesome. Thank you, Joaquin. As mentioned, we always enjoy you being with us and sharing those updates on behalf of NIEA. A lot of work that's being done. So thank you for sharing that, and look forward to what you'll be sending. We'll get that out to the membership as well. So
okay, it's good being here.
Thank you.
Yep. No, it was good being here. You can, Helen got it. Any questions, direct to Helen. All right, bye. Bye, everybody.
See you, Joaquin. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. All right. Again, if you have any questions in regard to what Joaquin had shared out, please send them to us, and we'll make sure that he gets those questions, and we'll get those answers back to you if Helen doesn't want to answer for you. But thank you. All right, we'll go into our national JOM. I actually forgot to update this slide, but as mentioned in our September meeting, Linan Yazi, who is the director for the Office of Indian Education, the Deputy Associate Superintendent for the Office of Indian Education, was elected and nominated and elected to serve as the Southwest at-large representative. So either her or I can share out any updates in regard to the National JOM Association. Outside of the conference information that I shared earlier, what comes with that conference, I did also want to share out that there was a new clarification of student eligibility, which we shared last month, but for those who were not on our call last month, and just as a reminder that this was released from the Bureau of Indian Education back in, I want to say in July. A memorandum was shared of how they now interpret the eligibility. So the only difference with that eligibility clarification is just that students who are not enrolled but are of a lineage or a descendant of a member who is enrolled in a federally recognized tribe does qualify for the JOM services. So that could be from a parent, that could be from a grandparent, and it could be from a living or deceased parent or living or deceased grandparent. So that's the only clarification in addition to the other two eligibility standards for the JOM services for using the JOM funds. If we will look for that memo, and I will send that out as an update, follow-up update after this meeting so that you have that for those who do work with the JOM funds. But that's just an update on behalf of the National JOM. We are continuing to work with the Bureau of Indian Education and with Congress on updates. I know that there was a bill introduced by Senator Warren, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, but it was in regard to the Honoring the Promises Act legislation that she did introduce during that time to Congress. In addition to everything she had listed in that act, under the education portion of that legislation was in regard to the Johnson O'Malley. And in regards to that was just requesting an increase of a 6% annual increase for the JOM funds. As you're all well aware, we don't get enough funding for our students and for the work that we do. And so it's a constant battle of trying to advocate on behalf of our students to get more funding for our JOM programs. And so that was just one of the updates that we had and that we spoke to at the national conference last month. Outside of that, there's no other updates on behalf of the NJOMA. Are there any questions? All right, if there are none, we will move on to our next slide, which is our elections. So those who did attend our September meeting, as you see on the screen here, we took nominations as it is outlined in our current bylaws, and the selected nominees who were selected or nominated did accept the nomination. So we did have only one nomination per office that was shared at the time. So we had our president, the vice president, secretary, and treasurer. So for the president, it's me, Kimberly Dinkhoff-Gay, and as our treasurer, our current treasurer, Sheila Cypress, and our current secretary, which is Travis Lane. Our current vice president at the time was Esther Nystrom. She has sent us a letter of resignation as of September 20th of our meeting date. And so that opens up the vice presidency position. And so for this meeting, we would like to do affirmations if there's no other write-ins, because we do allow write-ins at our election meetings. So if there's no other nominations for a write-in for either of these positions, I would like to call for a vote to cease the nominations for the president, treasurer, and secretary, and we'll move into the vice presidency. So are there any other nominations for the write-ins for president, treasurer, or secretary? Okay, if there are none, I would like to call for a vote to accept the current nominees as in those positions by acclamation, and I would like to call for a vote. So would like somebody would like please vote or please motion to accept the nominations for, I'm sorry, to affirm the president, treasurer, and secretary positions.
Can I motion, Kimberly? I don't know if I have that that capacity yet.
Not yet, Brett. Sorry. Thank you, though. So we do need a motion for this particular item.
Brandon Clark, motion to accept the nominations.
Thank you, Brendan. And that would be to affirm by acclamation, correct?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it would be that one.
Thank you, Brandon. Okay, there is a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Is there a second to this motion?
Are we allowed to second on that?
You are, because you are a member.
Well,
Yes.
I will be the second.
Okay, thank you, Sheila. I appreciate that. All right, motion on the floor. There is a second. All those in favor, please say aye
Aye.
or thumbs
Aye.
up. Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you, Travis. All those who oppose, like sign, either aye or thumbs up. All those by abstention, like sign. Since there is none, motion has passed. Thank you very much, members. We appreciate your vote of confidence in us, and we will continue to serve you to the best of our ability, as we have always done. And so I don't know if Travis or Sheila, if you wanted to share any sentiments for that, I'll allow you a few minutes to do so.
Well, I'd like to say thank you. I know we are a very small group right now, but we are building membership. So that's going to be a positive move in our direction. And we are looking forward to the continuation of our current items that we are working on, and hopefully to bring in some new information this coming year. So thank you for allowing us to continue what we started.
And also, I want to express my gratitude for continuing to serving as secretary for AIEA. I've been a part of this organization almost since the beginning, when we started the nonprofit back in 2003. And I will like to say that we've had some great leaders over the years who have served on the board. And I really do appreciate working under the leadership of Kim and working with Sheila, and also Esther. Unfortunately, she couldn't continue her role. But AIEA, I think, continues to serve a valued purpose in our tribal communities. And I think, like what Sheila said, we really will focus more on continued outreach so that we can gain our membership, build our capacity, and ensure that we're meeting the mission of why AIA was first initiated, which is actually back in the 1970s. So we have a long legacy of advocacy for Indian education, and I'm so happy that we have partners in the state that share our mission. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheila and Travis. And finally, I just want to say thank you again for your vote of confidence in us. We work really great together. We've had a great team over the past few years. And I know Esther has had, she's got her own business for one. She's also an elder in residence for the ASU American Indian Studies program. So she's really busy, and she's got a lot on her plate. And so unfortunately, she made the very difficult decision to not continue with AIEA, but she will always be a part of AIEA and to help out in areas that we ask her to. She's more than willing to help out with that. So with that, I just want to say thank you for your acclamation, and continue to advocate on behalf of our Native students on a state level. There's a lot of issues that come up within schools. I'm actually facing one with one of my parents this morning. I've been on the call and emails with a few of our preschool coordinators on trying to help her in her situation. And so, it's a continuous basis that we do day in and day out, and working directly with our students and with our parents. We see the need that is there for our students. and for Indian education. And so we continue to advocate on behalf of that. And as Travis mentioned, we have great partners that collaborate and work with us to make great things happen for our students and communities. And so thank you for your time and being here and for joining us and for continuing to support our organization. We look forward to working with you for the next year. With that, we come to our vice president position. As we mentioned, the vice president did submit her resignation as of September 20th. And so this position is currently open for nominations. And so Travis, am I able to do a nomination as the president, or would that need to come from membership?
Everyone's a member, so we're
Okay.
okay with making any sort of nominations for any position. Typically, when it comes to our write-in candidate, if we were in person, it would be secretive to write in someone. But because we're virtual, I think it's okay that we can, make a well, I'm sorry, the nomination can be open for any person, open wide, but the vote should be on secret ballot. But because we're virtual, that's okay.
Okay, just wanted to double check to make sure. So for nomination, I would like to nominate Helen Thomas, who I did invite for the meeting today. We've worked with Helen, and those of you may be familiar with her if you've been with AIEA for some time. She used to be a part of the Arizona Department of Education. She's very knowledgeable and very techie, so she knows how to make presentations look perfect. And but she's really a go-getter, and working with her has been a pleasure. And I was really happy to reconnect with her last week. I missed working with her over the past years. And so she's done a great work with our forum. Arizona J1 Forum is where I really work closely with her on as a representative for the National Johnson O'Malley Association. But we've gotten the word out. She's very timely. She's very efficient with the work that she does. And so I would highly recommend and would like to nominate Helen Thomas to be a part of our board as the vice president. So Helen, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I would love to accept the nomination. And if it's okay, I'd love to just share a little bit more about myself. I know I shared a quick introduction. But in Petuashte, Helen Wape Thomas Imachape Kisto, Malakota Kisto, Matakuye Chante Washte Nape Chuzapi Kisto. So I said, hello, good morning. My name is Helen Thomas. I am Hunk Papa Lakota. I'm a citizen of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe. And relatives, I greet you with good feelings in my heart. As Kimberly shared, I first became more involved with AIA when I was working with the Arizona Department of Education in the Office of Indian Education. That's when I met Kimberly. But I've been aware of AIA and taken advantage of resources and just the work that you all are doing since I was a classroom teacher. So I was a classroom teacher in Central Phoenix, and then I worked for the Tempe Elementary School District's Indian Education Program, providing after-school programming, intervention services, family and community outreach and engagement. And that's really when I was first introduced to AIA, when I was an Indian education teacher looking for resources for a community, for people that I could turn to for support. I am based in Tucson, Arizona. So for the last 6 years, I had been working in Indian education in the Phoenix area, but I'm happy to be calling in from Tucson today. And just as Kimberly shared, I am a pretty techie person, and that's where I feel like I could really support AIA on the board, is revamping some of our digital resources, platforms to support membership engagement and really driving up membership. And I just really value all of the Indian education professionals in Arizona. I've gotten to meet so many different people when I was at the Department of Education. And I just really respect everybody doing this work in our state. So thank you, Kimberly, for nominating me.
Awesome. Thank you, Helen. Appreciate your acceptance of the nomination. So the position is open. Are there any other nominations that any of the members here would like to put forth? All right, seeing that there are none, I would like to call for a motion to cease nominations.
I'll motion to cease nominations for the vice president position.
So I think we can make the action where we cease and by acclamation
Okay,
affirm
that's
the
what I
vice
was just gonna
president.
have.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sheila,
So
do you
Sheila,
want?
if you can amend
Okay.
your motion.
Okay, so I'd like to cease. I don't even know what I just said. I would like to cease the nomination with the acclamation, correct? For the vice president position.
And I will proudly second that.
Thank you very much. Membership. Oh, Sheila, if I can spell your name right. Okay. All right, we do have a motion. We do have a second on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye.
I
Aye.
I,
All those opposed, like sign. All those who abstain, like sign. Seeing that there are none, motion has passed. So welcome to the board, Helen. We're really excited to have you a part of AIEA with us. And so thank you, membership, for your your voting and for your selecting not Helen to be our vice president. So I'm really excited with this board. Like I mentioned, I've worked with all of them for quite some time, and I'm really excited to have Helen on board. We can really actually bring us up to date on our social media. We will look into possibly more social media platforms that will get our AIEA name out there. So congratulations, Helen, and welcome to the board. Yes, Sheila said exactly what I wanted to. Sentiments awesome. So with that, I do also want to mention that we do have Brooke on the call with us, Brooke Curly Hair, who is also very techie and has indicated that she is also wanting to become more involved with the Arizona Indian Education Association. And again, I've worked with Brooke when she was a part of the State Department here in Arizona, and she's really good with making announcements. And just like Helen, they're really techie on what they do and making our that will make our association announcements or social media platforms to really make them look good. So I'm really excited that they're excited to be a part of AIEA, and we look forward to having you on board with us. And so thank you, ladies, for being here with us. And just as all of you who are on the call today, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us for our meeting. I've worked with actually all of you, with the exception of Bethany, who's Bethany's News, but thank you for joining us. And we're excited to continue the important work that we're advocating for on behalf of the association. So we look forward to continuing that work in the coming year. So with that, we will move on our agenda to old business. In old business, again, we have our bylaws committee. Esther was heading up the two committees for the bylaws and the scholarship committees, but since she has stepped away for a while, I will take over on the bylaws committee. Just as a little bit of an update on what this is and how we've been working with it. Our bylaws were executed on the 14th day of September of 2007. We had a review committee back in 2016. We did some recommended changes, but those changes were never voted upon. So we had a recommended bylaws that's been sitting there since 2016. And so we revisited that last year. Esther took the lead on that, and we did have at least 2 meetings, I believe. Travis, was that correct? That I think we just need one more meeting because we went line by line and item by item on the bylaws, which was a tedious process, but those who were a part of it, thank you for your time and going through those. So I think one more meeting is just needed so we can finalize those recommendations and set for approval for the general membership. So that way we can hopefully get that on the agenda for our November meeting so we can approve the updated and revised bylaws for our association. I will schedule a Zoom meeting for our bylaws committee. If you are interested in serving on the bylaws committee, please drop your name in the chat and your email address so that way I can connect with you, or just send me an email and let me know. So that way I'll know you want to be a part of this committee. Like I said, I think we just need one more meeting as a committee just to review and to provide those recommendations for the general membership. Any questions on this? Or Travis, did you want to add anything to that?
Just that, the bylaws were established back in 2003. And, AIA has evolved so much since 2003. And so I think a fresh eye on the bylaws and what the future of AIA could look like. We don't have to do the things that our original mission was. If Indian education is changing, we're definitely did not consider, the pandemic with the ongoing technology that's involved that we have today. So having some fresh eyes on that would be really great, and I would love young people to have their input on how these bylaws can be updated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Travis. And Helen, I do have you on for part of the committee. Thank you. Again, if you're interested, just let us know and we'll get you the Zoom meeting information. If there's no other questions on this, we will move on to the next, which is our student scholarship. At our executive meeting yesterday, as I mentioned, Esther did hit this up, but we are now switching our leads. And so Travis has volunteered to take the lead on our scholarships. And so I'm just going to turn it over to Travis. He's been a part of this for some time now, so he knows how to explain what we'll be doing. So Travis.
Yeah, we had a couple of scholarship meetings over the summertime to update the documents. I think we just need to maybe have one more meeting of the scholarship committee to finalize the document and then send out to our membership. Our scholarship program has been really successful over the past couple of years. It is one of the programs that we started in collaboration with the Phoenix Indian Center back in 2004. And it's been an amazing experience to read scholarship essays and look at all the wonderful work and the successes of our Native children, our Indigenous children. So we do need to finalize the theme, finalize all the documents, work on the scoring chart, and then recruit people to serve on the committee to review the applications and then select our awardees. We have made some decisions that we're not going to offer a middle school scholarship. We will do a high school scholarship, an undergraduate college scholarship, and a graduate college scholarship. And just because I used to be the treasurer, but I'm the secretary, I'm being a little more reserved about the amount of money that we used to provide in the past, but that's kind of where we're at with AIEA. So but I think it's been the people that have been awarded these scholarships are doing wonderful work, and their successes should not be underscored, and really awarding people who are going to be future leaders in education or any other position or career that they choose. So if you are interested, go ahead and email me. My email's on the slide. And if you want to participate in that scholarship application process, would be very helpful. And it fills you with so much hope about where our Indian country is going with all the wonderful work that our students are doing. And so it is a lot of work, though. You're going to have to commit some time to read these applications, but it is very rewarding. And I just want to put out excuse me, just please make sure that you contact me if you're interested in this committee.
Thank you, Travis. Just one note, in addition to what Travis mentioned, we decided not to go with the middle school application this year because we just have not had those middle school applications come in. Every year, I think when we offer 3 different categories per level. So for the middle school, we had 3 different scholarships to award. I think we've only awarded maybe 1 or 2 over the years. So we decided to narrow it down to just one scholarship for the middle school called the 7th Generation Scholarship. We tried it as a pilot last year and we only had, I think, 1 applicant that came in for middle school. So we decided not to do the middle school and focus more on the high school and the graduate and the college undergrad level. So those are the 3 different categories that we're looking at for this year. So again, if you're interested in serving on the committee, please reach out to Travis to make sure that he does have your email contact so that you will know when the next meetings will be held. But it's always a pleasure and it's really nice to read these applications that comes from these students. We have amazing and outstanding Native students that are doing great work out there. So please, we encourage you to be a part of this committee as well. Paul, if you're available, we always welcome you to be on the committees. Just throwing it out there, Paul. Paul's actually working with the Tohono High School kids. So. All right, next we have our summer youth camp. So we have tried to get our youth camp going. We really haven't had a lot of success. So we went to a virtual platform during the COVID. We tried to go back to in-person, but it just has not worked out for us. So our last in-person camp that we had was held in 2019, where we collaborated with the Northern Arizona University, and we used the Centennial Forest area for our summer camp. We will not do our winter camp this year. We want to focus all of our attention to the summer camp that we will start planning for. So there is a call for anyone who would like to be on this committee so we can start planning and making getting the details for this upcoming camp. The theme that we have had for some time now, which we have not used yet, is braiding the elements of life. And from this theme, what our intentions were for the camp is to focus on the 4 main elements that are essential and sacred for our Indigenous communities. So the first one is fire. The second one is air. The third one is the land. And then the 4th one is, water. So those are the 4 elements that we wanted to focus upon and bring in presenters to go over each of those that have some expertise in each of those areas. And so we did have some presenters lined up. We had some cultural persons lined up to do our cultural activities. We had some elders in mind, but like I mentioned, things just didn't work out to where the location was actually confirmed. And so we're looking, because it's in the summertime, we don't want to have it in Phoenix or in Tucson. So we're looking at either the northern part of the state or even in the White Mountains or the San Carlos Apache areas. And so we have been in contact with them. I did speak with a person from the White Mountain Apache area that are very interested in collaborating with us. And so we're looking at that area for our summer youth camp. If you would like to be a part of this camp, please reach out to me. Let me know that you want to be on this committee, and we will start. I'll schedule some meetings to be set up for that works best for everybody who wants to be on the committee, so we can start planning for that. But again, this will take place next year in the summer. We usually have it in July, along the 3rd weekend of July. But we're open for any ideas. We don't want to conflict with a lot of our already summer programs that are happening for our Native communities. So that's why we selected the 3rd week of July, right before we all come back to school. And I think some of us may already be in school during that time for a short time. But if you're interested in serving, please let me know and we will get that information out for our meeting. Any questions in regards to our committee updates? All right, if there are none, we will move on to our new business. Just as a quick update, we have planned events. Really quickly, we have webinar sessions that we're going to be planning. I am in touch with several cultural artists who would like to do cultural sessions with us, whether it be virtual or in person. The last one we had, or the last ones we had were virtual, and it actually went very well. It was a really great success. We did our ribbon skirt making, we did our floral work making, we did tubular beading, and we did Navajo weaving. And so the Navajo weaving class was really successful. So we're looking at reaching out to that person again, possibly having in-person classes for that. But the toolkits will be provided for us, and there will be a fee associated with that particular session, just due to the tools that are needed for the Navajo weaving class. As far as education, our educational webinar series. Travis is going to be setting up and scheduling some webinar sessions that will focus solely on our scholarship to help our students understand the different elements of the scholarship itself. And once those sessions are set up and scheduled, Travis will send out a schedule for us, and we'll share that out with the membership. For our college invites, we have, which is a second part of our educational series, we invite several colleges that work with Native American students or have Native American student programs within their college that can provide resources and information for our students and our AIEA youth so that they can have that information and when they're planning their higher education journey. And so it's always helpful to get that information out at an earlier time. And so once those are scheduled and once we have some colleges, I did reach out to some colleges last week. During the conference, I visited with several throughout the trade show, and they're very interested in working with us. But I'll provide more information during my update next month. And finally, we have our parent focus. We talked about bringing back something for our parents. There's a lot of information and resources that can be shared with them that to help them be better informed of what services are available to help their students and to help their families with as their students go through schools. And so we're hoping to bring those back. And once those are scheduled, we'll get that out to the membership also. Finally, we have our youth conference, which Travis is working on. And then we have our, as I mentioned, our educator awards celebration. And so with the youth conference, we do want to bring that back. And so I did talk with our executives yesterday that I did reach out to the NAU to, and they're excited to be collaborating with us. But for further details, I'm gonna turn it over to Travis, who is taking the lead on this particular item.
Thanks, Kim. We used, excuse me, I think I'm getting a cold. We used to collaborate with institutions of higher education on an annual basis, and we'd rotate it from ASU, U of A, NAU, Glendale Community College, and how the schedule looked like was there would be one day where the institution would plan their agenda, and then the other day would be planned by AIEA, so that, and our focus on AIEA is to provide that cultural knowledge that we can share to support the resilience of our students as they move through the educational pipeline. And I'm very happy, and thank you, Kim, for reaching out to NAU. They were a great partner many years ago, and happy to work with them, and hopefully we can schedule something maybe in August or September of next year. I know with weather can be a little weird in Flagstaff, so we definitely want to avoid all the winter issues that might prevent our students to attend. And I love this picture that Kim, you provided. That was the last youth conference we had several years ago in Tucson, Arizona. But we would love to recruit people to be on the planning committee. We'd love for your ideas of what our youth want to know. I think Indian education looks very different now than what Indian education looks like, 8-10 years ago. So I'd love to have those conversations and how we can be more engaging and supportive of our youth. So hopefully we can have this and be a success. And then I'll also say it is a revenue generating event for AIEA, and that revenue supports a lot of positive things that we do, most importantly, our scholarship program.
Thank you, Travis. So to our youth council that is listening in, this is something that we want to bring back for you and for your peers, in school, because we think it is important. Just to give an example of how much of an impact these youth conferences have, we actually created our summer youth camps and our winter youth camps based off of the student voices from our last conference. So the picture that you see here, these are my students from the M5 public schools. We actually had 10 altogether, but there were only 8 that came for this particular picture that day. But we know that there's an interest for the students, and we want to bring that back. I think at the time, as Travis mentioned, we went away from that just because there were so many youth conferences happening at that time. But you know, we are unique in what we provide to our students. We come from that cultural perspective and we highlight our elders during those times. And so we want to bring that back into the youth conference. And so thank you, Travis, for taking the lead on this and for sharing that information. I apologize, I don't know why those bullet points are so big, but we'll fix that for the next presentation. Just bam, it's right there. But thank you, Travis. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Travis. You do have his contact information. It will also be shown up like later on as we adjourn. But if you want to be a part of planning for this youth conference. So thank you, Travis, for that. Any questions? All right, so next on the agenda is just our meeting schedule. I did want to make note, as I mentioned earlier, our meetings from at least through December will be virtual only. The meeting for November will be November 22nd, and then the meeting for December will be held on December 20th. So please mark those dates for the next upcoming monthly meetings. We will get a calendar together. I usually try and only go up to October on our calendars because October is our election time. Should there be a new board that comes in, they can plan when the dates will happen for the meetings. But it's been working for us with the third Friday of every month. If for some reason it doesn't work for you, please let us know, and we always try to accommodate our educators because that's what we're here for. We're here to work for you and to advocate on your behalf with your voices. And so right now it is currently the third Friday of every month. We don't meet during the month of July. That is held for our membership drive. And so we don't have any meetings for the month of July. I think we also added the month of March on there just due to the several spring breaks that are happening throughout a lot of our school districts. We don't have one scheduled spring break for all of us. And so we don't want to bother you during that time. And so those will be the only 2 months that we don't meet with our membership, but all the other months we do. As a plug-in for that, we do have a membership every year. So if you have not paid your membership dues, please get those into us. We do have an updated application for this coming year. Membership goes from November 1st to October 31st. So please get your membership dues in. That is our income we have for our association. We're hoping to bring in more income with these upcoming events that we're planning for. But right now, our sole income right now is just our membership. So please get those membership dues in. If you need assistance, please let us know. Our W-9 form is available. If you do need that form, please reach out to us and let us know. And Sheila or Travis can get that to you. So with that, we come to a time for some program share outs. So I am going to mute myself and allow those who are on the call to share any fabulous things that you're doing with your work or upcoming events. So please feel free to share out, just unmute yourself and start sharing.
I have something I can share, Kimberly, and this is a little older, but we just shared this at the NIA annual convention. I wanted to share about a project that happened, a program that happened over the summer that was a partnership between NIA, the Arizona Office of Indian Education, the Phoenix Indian School Visitor Center, and Native American Connections, and then a few other partners like the Gila River Indian Communities Tribal Education Department, the Herb Museum, and ASU Labriola. But there was a professional development program offered this past summer for educators from across the United States to learn and teach about the history of Indian boarding schools through place-based learning. And I just dropped the website for the program in the chat. There's readings, there's resources and different things on there from the application. But I share because I know the core team that was planning this does want to offer this program again in the future, but specifically for Arizona educators. So just want to put it out there for the membership. If this is something that you would be interested in, if you have colleagues that would be interested in, we do have a contact us page on there and a wait list that we have open just to kind of gather evidence that there are educators that would like to participate in a program like this. It was a 5-day professional development program where we went to museums, cultural centers, the ASU campus, we were kind of based at the Phoenix Indian School Visitor Center in downtown Phoenix, but a lot of educators found it very transformational for them. So just wanted to offer that this kind of really exciting work is happening in Arizona for educators, and definitely want to share it out.
Thank you for sharing that, Helen. Appreciate that.
And, I've been involved in voting efforts for over 20 years. I'm a volunteer deputy registrar for Maricopa County. The voter registration to vote in the general election has ended, but I just wanted to put a plug how important voting is for yourself and for your communities. And so just please be in touch with local organizations or statewide organizations about getting out the vote and how you can cast your ballot either through vote by mail, early voting, or vote in person at your current voting location. In Maricopa County, we're a vote center, so you can vote anywhere in Maricopa County and they will accept your ballot. But there are still some counties out there where you have to vote in your particular precinct. So please make sure that you understand um, what voting looks like in your counties, and then also understand your voting rights. So you have the right to, certain tribes have language assistance requirements in certain counties. You have the right to bring in a person of your choosing to help you vote. And then you have the right to make sure that if you're in line by 7 p.m., that your vote should be casted. And just make sure that you all know the best way and the proper way to make sure that all of your votes are counted. In Maricopa County, we're looking at a 2-page ballot, which is, sometimes voter fatigue. And it does take some time to look at all of the issues and understand how you want to vote. But it is important that I would highly encourage you to look at those issues and vote and complete your full ballot, not just the ones that you think that are, are priority to you, because I was just on a webinar last week that 39 people can make the decision of who's elected or who's not elected in certain elected positions. So just really wanted to encourage that.
Thank you, Travis. Appreciate that plug in for that. Antoinette?
Yes, I wanted to share that this past week we had our second quarter Indigenous Parent Committee meeting, and so we had about maybe 45 participants. We also invited ASU Access to come and speak, so they were a guest speaker, and we had Annabelle Bowen come. And so it was really good. We had a lot of good ideas that came to the meeting, and also we were just informed on Tuesday morning that Chandler Unified School District has 14 Indigenous students who have received the National SAT Recognition Award. So I was really excited about that. I'm like, okay, that's amazing. I was so happy. I'm like, we're slowly but surely getting there. And then it just talks about the pandemic and COVID. I'm just like, we're bouncing back here. We do have some events in November. We do want to have a parent leadership meeting. Hopefully, Nadine with Sun Clan is going to come out and talk about, give a quick training to our parents about the parent committees and the different roles that they can apply for if needed, and just kind of give them that education about the parent leadership side of it. Also have a couple of movie events that we're planning to have. I did purchase the Holt Hamilton DVDs by Travis. So hopefully in November, we will be able to rent an auditorium and watch More Than Fibrin. And then, like you mentioned, Esther does have her own business here. So I partnered with Esther. She's going to come and do some being cultural nights with our students. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Antoinette, and congratulations to your students. That is wonderful news. We don't hear a lot of successes from our students, so it's always great to hear those successes and recognitions for them when they do academic success. So thank you for sharing that, and congratulations on the great work that you're doing there in Chandler Schools. If you need any assistance, thank you, Sheila, for actually attending on behalf of AIEA this week for those meetings. And so we're always happy to support our program. So thank you for sharing, Antoinette. Are there any other updates?
Yes, I wanted to, that was one of the things I didn't realize Antoinette was still on the call because I know she had to step away. But I attended one of her parent meetings, and it was very exciting to see a nice little group there, because I know we all have the trouble of getting our parents to be involved. So to see that nice little turnout, I mean, they had to basically find other chairs to get in. So that was a really good thing. And I love the fact that there was those 14 students that was, highlighted on her agenda. So that was really great. So I'm glad that she was able to come back on the meeting and point that out. Chandler I live in Chandler, so I am basically a community member of the district, but I was there representing AIEA because I know that's another thing that we want to do is get our organization out there to let the students and parents know that we are here. So I told them that we would get information to Antoinette for anything like this. So if parents want to jump on board and join and be involved with our association, they could at least listen in or, whatever. So there was some good feedback. There was a couple of ladies that thanked me for coming and were interested in that. So I think that's really good for that. On my other end with Scottsdale, I was very excited this year. I got my last staff person at one of my high schools. He did resign at the end of the year, but he's doing great things now. He now works for the Phoenix Indian Center. So I lost him to another organization, but I'm very happy for him. But we were able to replace him, and it didn't take as long as I thought it would. She comes from us from Mesa School District. So I pretty much am letting her, what she did there, kind of integrate that with that school site. And she hit the ground running just like he did. And she took the officers, they started a Native club at that school. They actually got it on board. Bylaws are in, everything. So she took the officers to the Mesa Community College's Indigenous Peoples Day, the very first day we got back from break. So that they had fun with that. And we got 3 high schools that are they're collaborating and going to NAU's Indigenous Peoples Day on October 25th. So I got them a charter bus for that since they have to leave so early in the morning. And so they're very excited about that. I've even got counselors on board that offered their services to help chaperone. So we're very excited for that. I got the counts of AP testing students. Normally, we don't have a large group of Native students that do that. It's very rare. I generally have like maybe 1 or 2. This year, we actually bumped up to 9 that have asked for assistance to do AP tests. So we're very excited about that. Group of learning students, we had only a couple because pandemic did kind of, downsized us a little on that. We had like 2 students. We are now up to 13 going to Hoop of Learning for the College Bridge program. So that's another big thing that we're excited about. We are holding in Scottsdale a stakeholders, kind of a little gathering here in November. And I was asked to host a table and also do a session about our program within our district. So we can, spread the word out there of what we're doing. So my communications department we've been on the phone, it seems like since this morning, since this whole meeting started. She's working on getting me a tablecloth for my table and pop-ups and, revamping website. I mean, she's just, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden now it's like native. And I'm like, I am so proud of that. So I'm really excited about it. we got that going on, and one of our board members has specifically asked that I put together another cultural night in November for our families. But I did bring up the fact that, you know, it costs money to do that, and our grants really can't support a big program like that anymore due to we did lose some funding with our Title VI, but the superintendent got up and he has offered to help us out with the cost of that if I would just get him the cost of what it would normally cost for me to do that, so we wouldn't have to take it out of our grant. So it would be through a foundation funding. So I'm kind of working. I've got so many things going on that I don't know if I'm coming or going. I got a parent meeting in a couple of weeks. So it's just very busy for Scottsdale right now. But I'm very excited about the kids and, you know, about them taking opportunities with AP tests, hoop of learning, going to the NAU trips. And just found out the other day, in fact, she's the president of our Native Club at Saguaro High School, that just informed us that she got her acceptance to NAU. So she's very excited about this trip. So she can actually see and be there on campus to meet people before she gets there. I just told them all to be careful of the bats. But that's it for Scottsdale.
Sheila, do you also want to share out about your land acknowledgement?
Well, we had our land acknowledgement here now for a few years, but I proposed, because during November, I actually had to reschedule everybody. They were actually supposed to recognize me at our school board meeting for the month of October for getting the JOM exemplary program for Region 1, but I convinced them all that it would be better to do it in November. And in the meantime, so they did that. So we're doing my recognition for that in November. Plus, I'm also doing my board presentation about our program. But I also proposed to my superintendent that I wanted to have the land acknowledgement read at that board meeting on that day by a student of our district that I was going to get to pick out. And I already have the person in mind that I think would be fabulous at doing it, because our land acknowledgement was in collaboration with our Salt River Pima tribe, which is our neighbor right next door. So, and the student that I'm picking is a Salt River student. So I thought that would be just the perfect thing. And I'm also proposing that from moving forward, that instead of the land acknowledgement just being done by, you know, either just website or whatever, I wanted it to actually be read by a Native student at least every month, if not by a Native community member. So the superintendent and I will be meeting on that to get that taken care of. I've also kind of brought up with Antoinette, we were talking. I'm thinking of running by the superintendent as well, that I would like to see the flags of our tribes I really would like the all 22 tribes, but my main goal to start off small is to get the flags of the tribes that we do our personal tribal consultations with to be put in our boardroom. So, you know, wish me luck, do a lot of praying, because, you know, sometimes it's not good, you know, we don't like to do a lot of change, neither does other people. So, you know, I'm kind of hoping, but I have a couple of school board members that, you know, support our program. I have a superintendent that's very supportive. Our associate superintendent is very new to the program, so she doesn't really know me as well. But other people, you know, if I can get them on board, I know, you know, I can do no wrong with them. So, you know, just keep me in your prayers as I fight this fight.
That's awesome, Sheila. You always do great work, and that's one of the reasons why you received the exemplary award this year. So congratulations on that again. But thank you for sharing. I don't know, I don't remember if Antoinette shared out also, speaking of Chandler, but at the conference or the convention last week, she had seen the land acknowledgement video that was shared during the general sessions. And she got on the call and called her superintendent and you know, worked with her district. So they were really on board with her. So they're supporting her and creating a video for the land acknowledgement for her program from Chandler School District. So that's exciting news. You know, everybody's doing great work. This is one of the times we'll get to share out and brag on our programs, you know, or not necessarily brag, but share all the great work that we're doing. because it is a daily job. It's not no 9 to 5 job, as you are all well aware. You know, we do work nonstop. So thank you for sharing that, Sheila, and supporting Antoinette. I know she's called me several times, and we're on the phone usually for an hour or two to discuss challenges that she's encountering with her school district. But you know, that's what we're here for. We're here to support each other during those times. So thank you for sharing that out and for supporting her earlier this week. So with that, are there any other share outs that you would like to let our membership know? All right. If there are none, just really quickly with our Amphi School District, we have several events coming up for the fall. Our annual events we have during the fall time. We are going to be holding our family Halloween night where we ask all of our attendees to dress out in a costume. That's including our students and parents, grandparents. We always have a lot of fun with it. We do little contests during the times, and it's just fun contests. It's no competition, but it's really a fun time that we come together, and it's one of the times that we come together with all of our families within our school districts and our students, and we hand out candy for them and have them enjoy that evening. We also have for the month of November, as we mentioned, is National Native American Heritage Month. We have 1 week that we designate something for every day. We have a theme. So the week that we designated is November 18th through the 22nd. And we have several themes throughout the day for each day of that week, including the cultural movie night where we show, as Antoinette mentioned, she has several movies that she's going to show from the Travis Holt Hamilton films that he does for the indigenous communities. But we usually have a cultural movie that we share out. We have shared some of his movies out during those times too. One of the first ones we shared was Pete and Cleo. If you know the comedic team, James and Ernie, they're a part of that film. But so we try and get our parents and our students involved during that full week. Then finally, for this semester, we have our family winter gathering, which is our Christmas event that we schedule in December. This is a time, we call it a family winter gathering because we look back at how our ancestors came together during the winter times. And during those times, they shared storytellings and updates, you know, well, not updates, what they called it, but just sharing out what they were doing for their, you know, for their communities or where they were coming from. But it's a time for our families to come together. We share out during those times. We also do storytelling times for them to get our students interested and to hear those stories that are passed down from generation to generation. We do have a fundraiser. My parent committee is really good. I'm very proud that they do the work that they do from that end, but they are having a parent fundraiser here in Tucson at the Tucson Tamale Festival. So if you're in the area or would like to come down during that time, that will be December 7th. We will be doing our infamous Navajo tacos. So we have one of our parents, she makes really good fry bread. But she's going to have we're going to have a food booth there at the Tucson Tamale Festival selling Indian tacos during that time. We have a lot of other goodies that we do. My parents really show out for that. And so that's one of our biggest fundraisers. It all goes towards the end of the year celebration where we highlight the graduating seniors as well as our 8th grade promotees every year. The parents use the funds to purchase materials to create student gifts that we give in honor of those students at the end of the year. It's a year-long process, but they get it done. And in May, it's always an honor to see their bright faces and smiles on receiving those unique student gifts that they do every year. So that's a little bit about what we're doing with Amphi. We're also working with the University of Arizona to bring in our college series night, which we include our students in grades 7 through 12. It's never too early to get college information out to them. So we do include those middle school students to receive those resources as well. We are also working with the Tucson Indian Center. We are going to be creating a pilot, I guess, with our Native youth at one of our high schools. If it works out, we're going to move on into our other 2 high schools within our school district. But what this is, it's a youth group that's going to be focused on learning about those college resources as well as getting that Indigenous perspective on what it is like going to college. And so we're working with the Tucson Indian Center and the several communities for creating that particular group. We're also looking at working with several, with our local Indian education programs on creating a Native education event. We don't know what that looks like, but we're in the talks, we're in discussion about that. but we're really excited because it's going to involve all of our Native families within the Tucson area. We're looking at possibly holding it at the convention center here in town, but once we have more information available, we will share that out at the given time. So that's just a little bit about what AMPI is doing within our area here. With that, I did want to mention, Helen, that when you mentioned reclaiming the Native history, I also, my other hat is that I also sit on the board or the council actually for the Dickinson College, who works directly with the Carlisle Indian Boarding School. So if there's anything that we can do from that side, feel free to let us know, and I can share it out with the advisory council there. The director happens to be, we've worked with her, and she actually did our education webinar series, who is Amanda Cheremiah, or Dr. Amanda Cheremiah, but she's currently the director for the Center for Futures of Native Peoples. I keep getting that wrong, but she's doing great work there in Pennsylvania. But so she's really, very familiar with what we do here in Arizona. So if there's anything we can do from that end to help in bringing this awareness, please feel free to let us know with that. And thank you, Travis, for sharing that Native vote. Very important. We do have an upcoming election, so keep that in mind. So with that, we can move on to our adjournment. So again, our next meeting will be held on Friday, November 22nd. We do begin at 11. There's our social media and our emails and information. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. So with that, Sapo Lebuema, Ahia, Kwakwa, Asquali, Aho, to Howie today. So thank you for joining us for this October general meeting, and we look forward to seeing you and welcome you to come back for November. So with that, I would like to call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Travis. Is there a second?
I would second the motion, Chair.
Thank you, Brandon. Second by Brandon. All those in favor, please say aye. Oops. All
Aye.
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 thought we wanted to stay on longer. All those opposed, like sign. All those who abstain, like sign. Motion passed. Thank you, everybody, for your time, for meeting with us this month. We look forward to seeing you in the month of November. We will send out some updates. So have a great weekend, and we will see you in November. Take care, everyone.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.